All right. Welcome everyone to the show. This is our third one this year, and today we will focus completely on the Flare Fair. We have several protocols here who are participating in the Flare Fair, of course, and Max, who will from Flare obviously, who will explain about the Flare Fair, what it is, and so on. After we've gone through all the protocols, we will still have a Q&A moment, so you can fire all your questions at us. And I think, yeah, let's just get going. Maybe like a short hello from all the guests first, and then we go straight into it. So, Gustas, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Awesome. And then Max, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Lex. It's great to be here. Thanks for putting this together and inviting me along. Everyone, thank you who's tuning in. I'm Max. I'm head of growth at Flare. Hopefully be meeting a few of you guys and girls at various different events that we're doing, conferences and developer meetups. But yeah, I'm excited to be here with some of the leading members of our DeFi ecosystem today.
Awesome. Thank you. Anna, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for Sceptre and for Flare for organizing this. I'm happy to be here on behalf of Sparkdex. And yeah, excited for the discussions later.
Cool. And Jake, keep it short, man.
Hello, I'm Jake from Kinetic.
All right.
Oh, sure.
Well done. All right, Josh. Go for it.
Josh, one of the creators of Cyclo and also Raindex on Flare. And yeah, excited to be part of the Flare Fair.
Welcome, welcome. All right. Thanks for those short intros. And I think we should just like dive right into it. So Max, the Flare Fair. I've seen pretty pictures and a great intro movie that we ripped from you. And but what is it?
Sure. So basically a quick introduction. We wanted to be able to provide a sort of one-stop shop for all the different dApps that are operating on Flare as part of the DeFi ecosystem. It's kind of almost like a virtual fair that showcases our DeFi offerings. And it's, as you can see here, we have Lex from Sceptre, Gustas from Stargate, which is the main bridge, how you bridge into Flare with all of your USDC, USDT, and Rapteeth from other chains. And then Jake from Kinetic, which is the Flare lending protocol. Anna from Sparkdex, which is our kind of one of our dexes, where you can trade, provide liquidity, and also now trade on perpetuals. And Josh from Raindex and Cyclo being a leverage synth kind of way of users getting exposure to the Sceptre S Flare and now actually Cyclo Rapteeth, I think. So you can participate in the ecosystem without having the fear of liquidations as you go along. So we wanted the Flare Fair to be almost like a space where users could discover all of the different dApps. I think we wanted to maintain this ability to raise awareness, have everything in one place, enable the community to engage. And obviously we want to kind of provide the educational resources for how all of these dApps work, how they work together. They kind of you have the ability to bridge in using one thing and then kind of go across different dApps and provide liquidity in different ways and get the most out of the DeFi ecosystem. So that's the Flare Fair.
All right. That is a nice short package for everyone, understanding what it is and why it is, because you basically explained that in there. How long will the Flare Fair last?
I think it's something that we're going to keep an eye on. We obviously have lots of upcoming dApps in addition to the ones that we've started off as part of the first cohort. I think the aim is to have it as a phased approach. We want to kind of see how the community reacts and how much they kind of can get involved. And obviously we try and take on as much of the community feedback as we can to make sure we're providing all the information and resources that we can. So we'll see how it goes. I'd like to see it up there for a long while, because I think still kind of the education piece is massive for our community, like helping people to understand how to navigate this kind of crazy forest, or fair. Actually, probably fair. Let's go with fair.
That's fair. Yeah. So if someone wants to participate, where should they start? Do you have some brilliant website where we can, get a handle on things?
I love it. Yes. So if you go to flare.network, there's some hyperlinks on there that you can navigate to, or you can go direct to fair.flare.network. And then you can just kind of head from there and do all the discovery.
Awesome.
And participation. There's links to participate in each of the dApps.
Amazing. Okay, you're probably not going to answer this, but you said new dApps, and then I'm like, okay, what, when? Do you have anything you can say about that, or?
So, I mean, what I would say about that is that we're working on having as much of a full experience possible for our users. Having perpetuals available now through Sparkdex, and then there will be, I'm sure, other dApps that might be available and different functionality for users to kind of get involved in the Flare ecosystem. So I think keep an eye on this space, keep an eye on our Twitter and the Flare Fair, and I think all will become clear over the coming months.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Since we are here with a great group of protocols, I still want to give a short shout out to at least some other protocols that I'm aware of. So we have two other DEXs, right? Enosis and BlazeSwap. And we have XDFI with futures at the moment. So I think, those are also worth checking out. Of course, we couldn't have everybody here because then we need like 2 hours for a show. And I will be sleeping under the table by that time. So, all right. So shall we just dive in with the guests and see how things work? So, Gustas.
Yes.
What can you tell me? Like, okay, I have some USDC or USDT here. How do I get to play along with this Flare Fair?
Very simply, and I think I can begin with a short introduction of what Stargate is. It is a fully composable native asset bridge with two features. One of them is unified liquidity, and the second one is called what we call instant guaranteed finality. So once you commit your USDC or USDT or ETH on the source chain, it can be any of the networks out of a pool of 42, 41 networks that are available. Once they're committed, they're guaranteed to arrive on Flare, which is the destination chain. The protocol itself is built on top of layer 0 messaging protocol. And the way we actually connect Flare is what we call a Hydra chain that came out with Stargate v2, which allows us to extend an easier version of USDC, USDT, and wrapped ETH to essentially to Flare, which means that bridging into Flare has 0 slippage, and it actually has protocol fee turned off. The easiest way to do so is going to Stargate.finance, going to the transfer section, selecting wherever your assets currently sit on the source chain, and then selecting Flare on the destination, and press commit, sign one transaction, and you're in Flare, and you're enjoying yourself in a Flare Fair.
All right. So that sounds easy enough. I've done some bridging here and there, so I know the sweaty moment of putting something into a bridge and then waiting for it to come out the other side. Yeah. As you stated, it's guaranteed to come out the other side if the transaction on the source side went through successfully.
Yeah. Additionally, also you can track once you commit to transaction on source, you'll have a pop-up on the right that will allow you to show your transactions that are currently in flight. So once you click on that section, it will transfer you to layer 0 scan, where you can actively check in real time your transaction from the commitment to the finalization. Meaning, so somebody transferring from, for example, from Optimism to Flare can expect that their transaction or their assets to arrive in less than 2 minutes. Sometimes it's even quicker. So yeah, and then you have all of that real-time tracking that you can do, which can, additional kind of share of trust for your assets being there. And if anything falls short of the expectations, you can always reach out back on Stargate's Discord, reach out to the Flare team, and then we'll make sure it's handled very quickly. But it's very rare that we get these cases.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you do get a case like that and you scream out on X, I have a problem, do not click on the first support offer. It's
has
really
anyone
crazy.
ever has anyone ever like gotten their problem fixed on X? I don't know if that's ever happened.
I think they have only been relieved of their assets on X.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Don't ask for help on X. We've
I
got
think
these
the
old
best-
channels, baby.
Yeah, the best
Don't
option
DM
is
me.
the best option. I think still is like the Telegram or Discord of that protocol. Going there through the link tree to make sure that you actually have the right ones.
Additionally, just jump in quickly more. We've been working on some exciting things in Stargate, and one of them is about developing a very specific API, which will allow all of the Flare ecosystem dApps that are in requirement of having a access to Stargate Bridge will be able to provide widgets as well. So the functionality and like the ease for the users will become much more seamless. As Max mentioned earlier, that Flare's thesis is about making as seamless experience for all of the assets to and out of Flare, and much more better experience globally.
All right, so you'll be able to basically bridge inside every dApp as long as the widget has been added. Yeah,
sure.
That's great, because people just have one starting point, right? And then they usually have to figure out that was the wrong starting point. Where do I actually start?
But they all lead to Flare.
And of course, there's no reason why you would want to bridge out of Flare, but you can. I've had networks where I could only bridge assets in, but I'm assuming Stargate has no issues bridging things out. Just to ease everybody's mind, you can bridge both ways. Do you have any other cool new things coming up besides the integration?
I think there are more than I can actually share. There's some fantastic things that we're working on together with Flare. Additionally, there's some interesting things that we're looking into the assets that we support and the assets that we can bridge. As I earlier mentioned, Stargate is for like kind of native assets, but one thing I didn't mention, that there is this assets that use Omnichain Fungible Token standard, which allow to turn any ERC20 into this OFT standard, adapted, and then that allows you to essentially mint and burn your assets from any number of chains that you have configured it to. So it's just a more seamless way to take your assets across. So like some of the examples that we've seen recently with some of the newest launches like Berachain was essentially teams deploying this asset and moving 10 millions of worth of that asset, dollars worth of that asset, with like a cost of $2 or sometimes even like less than $2, which is something we haven't seen before.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a relatively good deal, especially if you just if you're used to regular gas fees on Ethereum or something like that. All right. Maybe it's a good moment to hop on over to Sparkdex and Anna.
Yeah. Hi, guys, again. It was a great start by Gustas. So, I can explain a bit more about Sparkdex in general for everyone who doesn't know us yet. So we are building a DeFi hub where users can currently swap assets. They can provide liquidity to a multitude of pools. They can farm great rewards alongside some nice APRs, of course, and they can also provide liquidity to our perp pool, which has recently been open to everyone, meaning you can provide liquidity and also earn fees from traders' losses. And of course, you can open some long positions, short positions on Sparkdex Eternal, which we have also launched a few months ago. Something really new on Flare. Yeah, it's our baby. You can basically open long and shorts using various crypto assets. And it's, of course, supported by the one and only Flare FTSO feeds. And yeah, excited to be here today and to dive in how you can make use of Sparkdex during the Flare Fair and in the fun zones.
Yeah, so let's say I found Sparkdex. I just bridged over a good amount of stables, and I want to participate in the Flare Fair. What do I do on Sparkdex to get going?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, after you've bridged some funds to Flare via Stargate, you can head to Sparkdex, and you have the opportunity to swap your funds into assets you need to get around Sparkdex and also to get around the fun zones. In the Sparkdex zone, for example, you can swap into Flare assets, USDC, and so on, and you have the opportunity to deposit liquidity to one of our pools or farms that have some nice APRs. And on the Flare Fair page, you can directly click on the pool that is most attractive to you. And then you will be practically just directed to our farms page on Sparkdex. And when you click on one of the pools, you can also see the rewards you're earning, for example, our Flare, that you're earning by supplying liquidity to the pool. And you have the option to click on a button that says add, where you can deposit liquidity right away. And there are actually two ways you can do this, which is through either dual or single deposits. One provided by where the ALM is provided by Steer, and one where the ALM is provided by Ichi. So yeah, Flare has actually done the extra mile to set up the quest on layer 3 as well. Yeah, I don't know if I can mention this now, but you have the opportunity on two different mediums to go and do those quests on Sparkdex and enjoy some nice rewards pool, basically.
Great. I think that maybe it was a colleague of yours who's shown the interface. I'm sure we can dig up the video of how to add something at least to a liquidity pool. I believe that we should have that somewhere.
Yeah, that video is on the Flare Fair page, I guess. Yes, it's when you go to the fun zone of Sparkdex, you can basically just click on play, and then it will show you right away in both ways how you can provide liquidity using which assets and so on. So I hope users get around this one easily.
Yeah. All right. But that sounds easy enough. All right. So now we've swapped some assets, and we have some assets still in our wallet. Some are in liquidity pool. And then, Jake, we come and bring you some some goodies. We want to supply some and probably borrow some. What can we do at Kinetic?
Well, do I have the platform for you? You would head to kinetic.market. Now, that's our lander. We're going to have a spanking new lander coming soon. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be high tech. You're going to basically feel like you're in Bruce Wayne's basement. Spoiler alert, that's the Batcave, baby. It's going to be amazing. You would head to then app.kinetic.market. You can supply some wonderful stables. And heck, great news, you can even borrow stables now. Finally, it took months, but finally there is some stables available for people to borrow. We did it, baby. We got here.
Not after this episode. Not after this episode.
You heard nothing. You heard nothing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's very easy, very simple. You head there, you click a few buttons. We've got a nice supply and borrow interface. It's all on one little pop-out screen. Don't even have to go to a different web page. You know, we're featured on the Flare Fair site. We got a little video on there if you like watching videos. This one's short, don't worry. It's like 30 seconds. You know, it's not going to take up a lot of time if you're new. We also are featured on the Layer 3 campaign as well. Did that myself, supplied big money, $6 in USDC. I know, I don't mean to brag. I'm not here to brag, but I do have well over $6 in USDC that I did supply to Kinetic.
You're
that
like Bruce Wayne, man. You're like Bruce Wayne.
I'm basically like Bruce Wayne, you know. Is there a conflict of interest with me supplying that kind of money to my own protocol? I don't know. Maybe you'll have to investigate me. Gary's gone, but you know, I'm open to it. Love a good frisk.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So very happy to be part of this. Very happy to be you know, celebrating Flare in a new way. You know, like we've had the our Flare reward system going for a while, so it's nice to have a nice little pretty bow tied around it, so people know what's going on, know what's unique about Flare, and see some of the beautiful DeFi ecosystem that is blossoming right before your eyes.
It sure is. Thank you for the poetic description.
Well, I do have my turtleneck on today, so.
Okay, yeah. And so, you know, everything's about design and
truth
style.
to power, baby.
Are you also wearing your jeans or like?
No, I've got kind of weird spotted trousers. You want to see them?
Oh yeah. I'm all about seeing trousers today.
Hopefully, it won't blur it out. We don't know, like, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of a light gray.
I'll just assume. Yeah, I'll just assume they're not dirty, but yeah.
No, they're clean, straight out of the washer, dude. They're still a little damp.
All right. Awesome. Enough details of that around your pants.
You asked.
All right, so. All right, so you know, somehow after supplying and borrowing, I end up with a bunch of S-Flare or ETH, and then Josh, I want to leverage that somehow. What can I do?
Yeah, so you can come to Cyclo, and you can, at the moment, you can take your S-Flare or your WETH as collateral, and you can get liquidation-free leverage. So
liquidation-free.
So we have Cyclo rethinks DeFi from first principles, rethinks DeFi leverage from first principles, and instead of having liquidations, we have a market for tokenized leverage. So you take your collateral, you lock it. We use the FTSO to value the collateral, and that you get the USD valuation of your collateral, but in a new token, which is a side token. So Flare or WETH, and then you can go sell that token on Sparkdex.
Ooh, I smell opportunity.
So you head over to Sparkdex, you sell your token, and then you have something to do something with your leverage. Like you could go sell your side tokens for USDC and then go supply USDC on Kinetic. So you could be earning yield on the leverage while your collateral is locked away safely, not going to get liquidated. You could be making yield on the leverage amount, and then eventually you can come back, buy back the side tokens on Sparkdex, and unlock your collateral. And if you locked S-Flare, then your S-Flare has been earning the staking rewards the whole time. So you got exposure. So if you're long these assets, you can just have them safely locked away while using the leverage for something else. Yeah, that's Cyclo. Do you want me to show you?
Yeah, show it.
Like, people get a bit confused. I always explain it, and
I love when people are confused. That's okay.
People are very confused, but it's new, so that's okay. I've just added the screen. I think you guys need to add it to the show. Joel, thanks.
I really like the part where you said Kinetic. That was probably my favorite part.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you get some PsyWETH, you can get your PsyWETH from Stargate. You can then say you get one WETH, you can lock it, and we use the FTSO to value it for this sad price, and you'll get you'll get this many PsyWETH. So that's the same.
A little
amount.
ominous, that number at the bottom.
This one? Oh yeah.
No, the 2666.
Oh yeah, right. That's something that is ominous.
You're just attracted to those 3 6s. That's it.
It's true. That's true. I'm one of those numerology people.
So you can mint your Cyweth, and then you can go to Sparkdex, and you can go sell the Cyweth for something else, like USDC. And then you can do with that whatever you want. And then later, when you want to get your collateral back, you come back and you buy back the Cyweth. So you need to get as many Cyweth as you started with. Let's say it's about that. And then you can come back to Cyclo and you can unlock. So I locked a tiny bit of WETH. And I minted at that time 1.59 Cyweth. So if I buy back that many Cyweth, I can unlock this WETH. So you can see that if you sell your Cyweth for something and do something cool with it in the Flare ecosystem and make some more money, then you can come back, you can unlock and keep the profits, and you just experienced liquidation-free leverage.
Yeah, and with a little bit of luck, that Cyweth was cheaper
right
when you buy it back than when you sold it, right? So
right. Here we go.
You might end up with something in addition. Of course, everything is time-based, but
yeah, Cyweth has exactly. You got to get your timing right because Cyweth has a market price.
I'm seeing the inverse Viper pattern displayed beautifully there.
Flare has more market data. It's more interesting to look at. But for the fair, actually, the one thing I should say, if you want to get rewards, you don't mint and sell Flare. To get rewards, you buy Flare or Cyweth. So these are the current estimated APYs for buying them.
I think those are, reasonably attractive.
They're pretty good. Because we've got a 1 million Flare pool per month, and that gets split pro rata across all the holders of eligible side tokens. And eligible side tokens are side tokens you buy, not side tokens you mint and sell. So just to be clear. But yeah, if you buy, then you get rewards. And we've got a nice leaderboard here, so you can see how you stack up against the other.
You can snoop.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the bragging board, is it?
Bragging board. Somebody is going to get 25%, which is pretty good.
That is pretty good.
They've acquired a lot of Flare, but you can see
you can see me down at the 185th.
It only goes down to 50. Sorry. So
dang. Yeah. You can't see me. I'm not a big enough boy, I guess.
Nope. Yeah, you can chill with your $6 USDC.
Hey, look, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. I'm willing to share it.
But yeah, that's Cyclo.
All right, perfect. Just to add, you said you get the staking rewards, but actually with Flare, there's also the Flare drop, which is not, nothing. Yeah. All right. I think I was not supposed to say I got some comments on saying too often, by the way. There we go.
They better mind their own business.
Yes, indeed. Let's this is impossible. Let's continue to the Q&A session. So if you're ready, let's get some questions on the board.
I'm ready, baby.
Max,
Thanks for me.
can we, as Flare holders, extract yield incentives by helping agents with FXRP collateral?
So am I right in understanding that this is regarding the current sort of V1 that's running on Songbird ahead of when it would be on Flare?
Well, we can just go through both cases, I guess. In that case, I guess on Songbird the answer is no.
On Songbird, the answer would be no. I think the idea in the current V1 that would be launching on Flare is that it would be with FLR as collateral. I suppose that wouldn't necessarily prevent users from minting as Flare and then sort of doing various things with size Flare in order to get hold of Flare to provide that as collateral. But it really depends upon what the users are looking to do. I think S-Flare might be something that could be considered if there are future versions of F assets launched by Flare Labs, but that really is more of a Flare Labs consideration. So it's down to the team of engineers who are working on that protocol.
All right. Well, I think that's as good an answer as we're going to get right now, unless we get some engineers on the call. All right, next one. Gustas, what tokens they are planning on? No, I guess what tokens are you planning to bridge to Flare?
So currently available tokens are two stablecoins. It's USDC and USDT, in addition to ETH. And then I also see that there is Dinero's OFDs also available, which is Dinero and S Dinero. In the future, we hope there's a larger increase as the ecosystem also wants to move omnichain and also attract users from other ecosystems to join the whole craziness of the FA assets and everything that's going to come up in the future. So I think there's going to be a lot of exciting developments coming on into Flare. I've also been having a lot more requests for teams to deploy to Flare, the OFD. So we're working through some of these, but canonically, the protocol will be able to bridge USDC, USDT, and ETH for the foreseeable future. And then all of the OFDs that get deployed and have made the request to deploy to Flare.
All right. So potentially a lot of tokens, but that list is no.
So I think it's down to the creativity and, of course, functionality of what do these tokens do in the ecosystem. So I think having this conversation about S-Flare and everything that constitutes what the Flare Fair is about today and all of the opportunities. There is something that we also want to increase at Stargate, is like to provide more information when you go into a chain. What does the chain do? What's the functionality? What you can do there to explore? Something that I've taken personally on to do more and more into the coming months, so that every chain, and especially Flare in this context, would have the context for new users to onboard into Flare.
Yeah. Okay, this is like a general question, I guess. What is your projection of this Flare Fair strategy in terms of adoption? I'm sure everybody has some kind of idea about it. Max, do you have something that you can share here? I'm pretty sure some of the things are maybe business secrets, but
business secrets. Well, so I think the main aim of this, right, is to get as many users familiar with our ecosystem as possible, to know who Flare are, what we have going on, our positioning within the L1, but also the L2 space as a blockchain, how we're kind of a standalone chain. And I think from what I've understood from our marketing team, there's a lot of users out there who are still kind of learning about Flare, learning about the protocols, learning about what it is that we do. And I think obviously via kind of putting this out and having our dApps participate, all of their communities becoming aware of it, and then obviously having this kind of destination with quite interesting or quite compelling sets of emissions available for the network. I think it's fair to kind of project that there would be a sizable increase in the users on our network. I think I was provided with some information about the number of people who have just even hopped along to the layer 3 quests, and the numbers were quite high. I think it was something like 7,000 or something over the last couple of days, which it's a decent amount. I think I'd be pretty pleased to see those numbers as our head of marketing. So I think we're doing pretty well. I'd like to see a number of new people coming to the ecosystem, setting up wallets, participating, earning rewards, enabling Flare to reach more people, having the names of our dApps become more kind of centerpiece on the chain. And so, yeah, I'm thinking if we can see a boost in activity on all of these different dApps and on Flare chain itself, then be very happy.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you from my own experience in the last couple of days that there are definitely new people entering the network. I can see that from the type of question that is asked. and that hasn't been announced for a while. So
I think we've actually, Lex, I think we've had like 4K wallets. And if I've understood like correctly, I think the layer 3 has just been live for 1 day, which is exciting. I wouldn't necessarily expect that level of increase to continue at that rate. But I think if we were to see an extra, I don't know, 40,000 users over the next months, then it would be great to welcome them to Flare.
Absolutely.
Well,
All right, next.
From my side, I can see that there's at least 1,000 transactions that have been committed in the past 2 hours, bridging into Flare of different sizes. So just FYI, we only keep a 100-page limit, but that's already 1,000 in the past 2 hours. So
that's pretty good. And that's all coming to you, other protocols. Yeah. All right. For Anna, can you elaborate on the geo blocking? That was something that you announced a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I was kind of fearing this question in the sense that, we've seen a bit of, of course, negative reactions. Then also on the other side, positive reactions, because we are trying to comply with some laws and regulations. And the thing is just that we've been advised by legal to introduce this just specifically for perpetuals. While the rest of the platform is accessible, just perps not from certain regions. The thing is, as much as I love DeFi, and I'm in DeFi since 3 years, and I also believe in DeFi, I think there are times when you just need to say, okay, I have to have this minimum in my platform, and I need to comply with this minimum. And every region has different kind of legal standards, and we want to basically give or make our platform as safe and how to say, not trying to find the right words here. We're just trying to comply overall. And I get that a lot of people were a bit sad by the news, but I basically cannot do anything about it. I'm just adhering to the legal, and I hope that users are still fine with these news and understand that we are trying to do our best.
I totally get it. If you don't, then there's possibility that no one can use your platform at some point.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
makes absolute sense. So, I think this sometimes has to happen. You get some legal advice. No one wants to get arrested, so I think you have to follow that, even if that creates some issues for certain users to get in.
Right. We don't want to spend our young years in jail, and we certainly want to keep innovating, like with Flare, especially because Flare has been really supportive since the beginning in building all of these things, of course, and innovating with us on the same line. It's not like we've launched all of this and we are just keep on going by ourselves. It's like every day we're provided with something new, and we want to keep it like this, and we want to keep growing. So this is our mission in this.
Yeah, from our perspective, it's great to see pretty much how everyone on this call has made use of our native protocols of the FTSO, at least in its entirety. I know that Sparkdex configured a way of making use of the fast updates and the anchor prices, which is great for us to be able to see. I know actually speaking with Jake and the Kinetic team, it's a similar story. So for us, it's very exciting to see that adoption. And we understand that dApps need to be careful, given that there are going to be a lot of kind of upcoming projected regulations coming in for the States. I think there's a good opportunity for us to retain kind of elements of compliance within the ecosystem and have that offering as much as possible is useful where it's necessary.
All right. Next question. do you think the slow pace at which Flare Labs rolls out their products, as perceived by the community, would have impact on Flare's adoption on the long run? And how do the Flare Fair, or does the Flare Fair help with to mitigate that?
I love this question.
Yeah,
because I think the key word for me here is perceived.
Yep, of course it is.
And I think like let's dig into perception. Like, I would say that the most important thing from Flare's perspective is to make sure any applications that are building on our network launch applications that are following the best practices, that operate, hopefully once audited, that are as safe as possible for consumers to use, are relatively secure, and offer the best UI UX for consumers. And at the end of the day, our role as a blockchain is to facilitate this technology and to require the dApps to go through whatever they need to go through before launching. For us, it's not the best outcome if users are put at risk, and we encourage our dApps to do their best to ensure that the user experience is as I suppose, I want to use the word safe, but safe is not the correct word to use here. As beneficial from a UI UX perspective as possible. And to that end, I think Flare Labs have done their best to make sure that they can roll out products in a timely fashion that function. From my understanding, the tests on Coston and the tests actually, the launch phase on Songbird have been wonderful in terms of the actual performance of the tech. The Flare Fair is very much about the existing dApps that we have on Flare. So you have obviously Stargate and Kinetic and Cyclo and Sparkdex and Sceptre, all functioning after audits, having kind of rolled out according to their own remits, and are operating and functioning fully, on the network. I'm pretty pleased with that outcome. I think we have a really robust DeFi ecosystem that continues to grow with some very exciting builds upcoming that I'm sure have been referred to and will be referred to on various calls. I think that the community, if they can become comfortable with the way that these current DeFi protocols function and how to really participate meaningfully in the ecosystem, then hopefully they'll be able to really benefit from the forthcoming dApps that will be launching on the network and all the other use cases that are kind of going to be shown out. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's clear. Like safety and security, as well as usability first, above the speed, because speed can sometimes lead to accidents that no one wants to lose their assets because of something that could have easily been prevented if we'd taken the time to do audits, have security partners check things over, do other quality assurance measures. But perception is perception.
Perception is perception.
Yes, very, very subjective, but understandable at the same time. Right? When you order something online, you want it to be there right away. Where's that drone that brings me my new mouse, for instance, that I ordered? It's not here yet. Unbelievable. But yeah, let's see. For Max, another one. Do you think the F asset's unique economic security bridge principle will be compromised with F assets too?
I'm not really sure how to answer this because I'm not really familiar with the F assets
funny if
V2.
you just said yes.
Totally yes.
Yes.
I am not familiar with F assets V2, but I would love a little bit more information, and then I can try and do my best to tell you. I'm only familiar with F assets V1, but thank you for asking the question.
For the audience. Everybody else gets a direct question but me. What's that about?
Everyone
Where's
wants to
my
know
direct
about your
question?
trousers, Jake. They just are
Look.
curious about the trousers.
Well, they better be. Well, I got these from a thrift store, okay? Like big money. You saw the $6. You know I've got it.
I saw something recently by one of our community members who was talking about using Flare in order to make a purchase in a high street shop. I was curious, did you follow the same sort of approach with Flare? Maybe even doing something with Kinetic in the process where you maybe borrowed against a deposit of assets and then went through that whole process, gained leverage on those assets, and then used them through your linked card to make the purchase in the thrift store.
Yes, I did all that. I borrowed against a hefty sum of $10 USDC. Got the pants for $4. I'm cutting it close. I know. But hopefully I'll be able to sell these pants now that they're famous from being featured on the Flare Factor. I think I can get $6 or $7 for them. Putting it right back in, baby. The bag is growing.
No, there you go, Jake. You should complain more often about not getting questions. Can you tell us about your plans for Joule now that it's on the FTSO?
Thank you. Finally. So it's going to be fully integrated on the FTSO this coming Monday. So we're going to start pulling the price feed for Joule directly from that sipping the sweet nectar from that FTSO, baby. Going forward from that, it's ISO pools for Joule, the Joule pool. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. That's kind of the next big thing for Joule is the ISO pools. If you're wondering when, we're working on it, baby. We're trying to get it to you as fast as can. Daddy's working for you. He's going to try to bring you that Joule ISO pool. That's kind of hard to say. Home to you, maybe with like a little candy bar for you, tuck you snugly into bed, read you a bedtime story about DeFi. Daddy's working. It's going to be there as soon as we can. Okay. Daddy loves you.
And if it takes a little bit longer, people, it's because we want.
No, don't say that. Don't put those words into their head. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be soon.
Epically soon.
So soon. You're gonna love it.
When it comes to our Flare in the Flare portal, what is the process for me to still receive the 100% compared to the 50%? Do I withdraw the available funds in the middle so it gets locked up?
I don't think this guy understands how our Flare works. Does anyone want to give a breakdown?
I could try.
Okay.
The idea behind our Flare is that once you have been allocated our Flare earnings from protocols, you can claim those rewards. When you claim them, they become eligible as almost like a wrapped Flare. They become eligible for Flare drops and also for FTSO rewards. And then they vest. So as soon as you claim them, you're able to then start the vesting. I think the vesting may even begin before. I think it may begin when they're actually distributed via the allocation. So when you claim them, then they sit in your Flare portal, accumulating rewards in terms of the Flare drop and the FTSO rewards, and then they'll vest over 12 months. That means that they unlock gradually, linearly, by 1/12 of the amount over each month. So if you want to get 100%, you'll need to wait the full 12 months, but you will also receive the portion of Flare drops and FTSO rewards that are earned and accumulated during that period of time.
So clicking that middle button, that's when you're taking out the little bits that are slowly vesting to you. The bottom button, if you can withdraw the full amount, but 50% of that's going to be burned, baby.
Yeah, and with that 50% of all the Flare drops you could have earned during that 1 year waiting. So
not exactly a great deal, random guy. I would say just keep clicking that middle button and just be a little patient, and you'll do far better than if you click the bottom button. Fear the bottom button.
All right. Enough bashing, Jake. What do we have here? what do each of you are sincerely? Sorry, I have a bit of trouble.
I read that
reading the
one
question.
ahead of time. It's
You did?
yeah. They're basically saying, what do each of you sincerely think about the organization and deployment of the Flare Fair? I guess marketing wise, I would say there's a bit of the structure, I guess, with that block of text isn't the best, but I'm guessing that's kind of what they're aiming at there.
Okay, so we're going to answer a question which has been interpreted by Jake. Sounds good. Who wants to go first?
I
I'll go
still don't
first.
understand if this is a negative or positive question, to be honest.
So basically,
Yeah.
we want to know how good the adoption is going to be from the Flare. What's the impact of the Flare Fair? How do we all feel about the rollout of it, the organization of it?
I feel like one thing we could say is the branding is amazing. Whoever did the artwork,
Yeah, I agree.
absolutely gone to town on it. It's like a whole world. I would like to see like more of a metaverse thing where we could actually have like a 3D experience.
Ooh, we can walk through.
Yeah, an actual fair. That to me would be pretty cool. Like, I think, yeah, if I was going to be critical, I would say the lack of a VR experience for the fair is my main comment.
I wonder if that should be an RFP, Josh. I wonder if we should set up a virtual space where users can literally go and visit the dApps and kind of interact with them. I like that idea a lot.
It can't be that difficult.
I think, look, it's a really valid question, as all of these questions that I've had to answer have been. I think that, we're doing our best. We're trying to, figure out how to make this whole landscape more accessible. We definitely don't have the same functionality that you can achieve with an app store like in the Android or Apple iPhone, whatever it's called, app store. It's hard to get to that level of usability. That's what we're aiming for. I'm aiming to try and find consumer grade dApps in terms of the actual UI UX, and then input all of the different ecosystem dApps that we have and make it even easier to kind of use, to abstract away that complexity as much as we can. But whilst we're getting there, I think it makes sense to be able to have dApps used as they were designed and imagined. And yes, it's a little bit more of a journey. And I think turning it into something that's a bit fun with some really concise, good walkthroughs available with some good educational materials is pretty solid. So I'm pleased that it's kind of turned out the way it has.
Well, I guess at Sceptre, I'm super happy with the setup at the moment because it seems to be working. We seem to be attracting new people to Flare, and I think what Max explained about having a sort of app store type entry is a really good idea, because the main scary thing on blockchain is to try and Google for stuff and just hope that the link you click is okay. So that if you go through that Flare Fair site, you're going to end up on the actual dApp and not some fake version, for instance. And I'm pretty sure, when new protocols enter the space, they will be added to the same entryway. All right. I wasn't very critical, of course, but I'll go with it anyway. How can you guys work together? Is it possible to supply Cyclo tokens to Kinetic? Ooh. Okay, so it means like, how can we interact or bring the protocols even closer? Can we supply Cyclo tokens to Kinetic? Would that be a thing?
You guys need an FTSO feed, so maybe with the custom feeds, we could do it.
It would take a lot of legwork. It'd be easier to just use Cyclo to lock up your stuff, get another asset, and then supply that to Kinetic.
Yeah, I'd also like to see a side jewel token.
That'd be cool.
And if Joel has an
Alpha.
FTSO, we could do that.
Ah,
If we
people-
say alpha 3 times, it'll happen. Alpha, alpha, alpha.
Hey, we move pretty fast. We'll roll that out over a weekend.
Psh, It's easy as, simple as. So yeah, great P. Everything.
If people want
Anything
it,
and everything you desire, your heart desires, will be
Yeah.
made possible.
yeah.
yeah. Why don't we get a petition going? And if enough people want a side Joel token, we will make it happen.
Let's do a Twitter poll right now, live.
Oh yeah, I'll do one right now. That's a good idea.
All right.
I'll boost it. This is the Flare ecosystem at work, baby. This is how we roll.
Hey, that question kind of like made this into a bar brawl, guys. Come on. Let's see what else we have besides Joule, which apparently definitely is going to come because we had 3 alphas. So, for everyone, do you plan to implement AI agents on your dApps? And if so, when?
What would you want them to do? Would you want them to give you like cooking recipes or like? It's pretty, Kinetic's pretty simple. But if you want an AI agent to give you financial advice, no, we're not going to do that. You have to make your own decisions, baby. I'm sorry. But as far as the clicking, the borrowing and supplying, it's pretty simple. I don't know how they would really help you. I mean, maybe we could have one that just explains stuff. That'd be nice. Hey, sure. Why not?
So
I want
like a
one that tells
Q
you
and
not
A
to
bot.
click links. I want one in the Telegram that's like, hey, just every like minute reminds people, hey, the guy with the admin tag is the one that's actually the admin. That guy. That's the guy.
You shouldn't let all those other Jakes in. That's the problem.
We don't let them. They're not in the server. They have their alt account in. They watch and they're like, oh, someone has a problem. Someone's asking how our Flare works for the 80th time. Let's DM them. You look for the admin tag. If the Jake you're talking to isn't even in the Kinetic server, that's a red flag right there.
Yeah, and if he doesn't like talk a lot of bullshit to you, then you also
If he's not making jokes and posting like annoying gifs while you're trying to ask for help, that ain't me, baby. That's not me. You can't replicate that.
All right. So anyone else? Anyone else?
Yeah. I would love to jump in for this question because this is actually something kind of related to Sparkdex, because in the beginning when we started all of this, we did mention that Sparkdex is going to become like an AI-powered DeFi hub. And then, of course, the fathers came in like, okay, so where's the AI part of the project, And of course, because we're doing everything step by step, we do plan, and this is something in the pipeline, to have something like an AI companion on Sparkdex, which is fairly easily like usable in terms of that it will just have all the information stored that is available on the dApp in order to perform certain actions. So, for example, you have the perp DEX on Sparkdex, and it's not so easy for a lot of people to use yet. I guess for beginners in DeFi, it's more something difficult to use. Also, because we have different features on there, you have like trailing stop and other pro trading tools like stop loss, and like you can use all of them in a different kind of manner, in a different kind of strategy. You can also use leverage, which I don't advise for beginners. But basically, this bot, then you can give him a prompt, and you will be able to set up a long or a short. Like, let's say you type in, open a long on this and this asset, and it will do it for you. And then you just have to basically click on probably and approve the transaction. So this is something definitely in the pipeline. With perps, it's a bit more difficult, because I think for other things like swaps and such things, it's more easier. But for perps, I think the bot still needs time to get those things in its prompts and be able to execute such stuff. But definitely in plans. I'm a fan of AI when it's used like wisely, not just for the sake of it, but I think that there are interesting things you can build with it, or even like some kind of strategies that lets you know when exactly to, for example, open a long or a short. But I think we're a bit still far from this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any AIs?
I would love to see someone build a AI agent wrapper on Raindex. I know I'm here for Cyclo today, but Raindex, you can do a lot of stuff with Raindex. And one of what Jake said before, the problem with all these AI agent things is, like, do you really trust? It might be fine for like mucking about with some play money, but would you actually trust an AI agent to take control of your finances? I think for most people, the answer would be no at this stage. And I think if it's lining up a whole bunch of stuff you can't really see or understand, then that's a problem. And so our whole thing with Raindex was to make stuff more readable on chain. So you get non-custodial smart contract guarantees, but with things being way more readable than it is with Solidity. And so, yeah, I think Raindex is a pretty good playground for someone to build on top of. That's an open call.
I can,
Yeah, open source. It's permission. It's DeFi.
So that sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. Any last?
I can probably jump in. I think in the space of talking about kind of DeFi, AI, emergence, convergence of these two gigantic, I would say, emerging markets, like the way I envision Stargate, and Stargate is currently in 42 chains. Last week we just flipped over 1 billion in TVL. And one of the things that I'm really excited about and looking into, like AI agents that can work with DeFi, similarly like how in traditional finances, maybe more like neo finances, you have these robo advisors, which are essentially they're automated. They automate your portfolio management. They also build on super complex computer algorithms, which is the same what we're interfacing on a daily basis with smart contracts. So I don't see why cannot robo advisors turn onto the DeFi, especially where if you're managing a portfolio across 10 different dexes and you're trying to you're playing on 8 let's say 10 different chains, 8 different dexes, and you want to manage the portfolio just to capture these opportunities, probably the best way to do it is through automation. And the way that Stargate is currently scaling is allowing you to build that on top of that. So we are trying to empower more of composability of applications to build on top of Stargate and like have this ability to flow assets and automatically rebalance wherever and whenever needed, and trying to make it more accessible. So I think in the next year and two, we'll see a lot of exciting developments or dApps coming into just general DeFi space. I think we need to innovate more and more and more and gather feedback much more quicker than we currently do. So I think that's something I'm looking to explore much more.
All right. I think it's time to wrap up because this is already the longest episode that we've had. And I've already overrun all of your calendars. So I want to thank you all for joining us, for speaking to our beautiful audience, joking around and handing in a lot of tips and beautiful information about the Flare Fair. I hope a lot of people will join the Flare Fair, and there are so many amazing rewards to be had if you go through all the protocols. I don't think there are many opportunities like this flying about. And at the same time, you are securing a network, providing beautiful price feeds that can also be used, as far as I know, outside the Flare network. So, just amazing things. Do any of you have some final thought you want to drop on our audience? Short one.
No.
Don't be afraid. Be courageous. Explore the Flare Fair. Explore each of these applications and the wonderful teams that are building on top of it. I mean, just chat with the teams. Come into Discords, Telegrams. If you have any questions, reach out to them. And I think the more the merrier.
Same here.
Jake, so far I've got 100% support for a Sigil token, by the way.
I better get on and vote against
One,
it.
one vote.
Let's I gotta play the underdog angle.
All right. Anyone else, or shall we wrap this up? And
Yeah, I just want to express my thanks that you've invited Sparkdex, of course, for this episode. And it was really insightful to be here and also to meet with some new members from other teams. And was a great episode. And one thing that I just want to give away here is that please always check the URL you're trading from, because there's literally like 3 different landing pages outside, and I'm getting like messages daily saying that they've been on sparkdex.io or .app, and it's just not great. So please just check that it's .ai.
And also never put your seed phrase into any website.
Yeah.
Like if it asks you for your 12-word phrase, try and get
Yeah.
it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam straight away.
No one will ask for that unless they are there to rip you off.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think that's one of the things we wanted to enable was direct linking to dApps from the Flare website. I'm assured that all the links are really kept very much kind of secure, as it were, and they are the actual apps themselves. So go to flare.network or the flare.flare.network in order to access the links to the dApps themselves, and that will be the right way to go about things if you have any confusion.
Absolutely. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you very much. And don't forget to vote for FIP 13, which will hopefully get Flare and FTSO feed. So, go vote. I can't do it with my with the Flare that we hold for our users, but definitely, if you support that, if you want more opportunities for Flare, vote yes. Don't just vote yes. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.